Hello, everyone. It is time for another movie review. Now, obviously, I am warning there are spoilers in this. So, the movie today we are going to be discussing is Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey, 2022 Jagged Edge production. Um, can I just say, what the hell did I just watch? It's classified as a horror film. If you are a true horror buff, you are going to be laughing your ass off at this movie because it's not a horror. So you are not going to get scared. It is graphic. It is supposed to be scary, but like I said, if you are a horror junkie like me, you will laugh your ass off. Personally, the rating I give this movie is a 1 out of 10. If I don't even think movies deserve 0. I'm gonna give this 1 out of 10. But because the theme is Winnie the Pooh, I'm going to bump it up to a 3 out of 10. Okay, so let's just say right off the bat, 3 out of 10. The premise of this movie. Now, this is why I wanted to watch it. You ready? Okay, so Winnie the Pooh. Christopher Robin ends up abandoning Winnie the Pooh, Piglet, and Eeyore in order to go to college. And then the characters Pooh, Piglet, and Eeyore end up going on a bloody rampage in search for food. So, so that is the premise of it. Now, what's interesting about this, and I have to be careful with what I say, is I was wondering how can they even make a movie like this if there's the whole Winnie the Pooh mousy copyrights. And it turns out that the original story, Winnie the Pooh, by A.A. Mills, which was in 1926, has now been reissued as free use license. There's a 75-year copyright thing, so after 75 years, it then enters into public domain, and that's exactly what happened. So technically, Winnie the Pooh is public use now. You can use it. You just can't use mousy Winnie the Pooh. Okay, so if you know what I mean, that's all I have to say. So you can't use mousy. So what that means is, first of all, with this, you cannot necessarily have the mousy likeness of Winnie the Pooh. Instead, you end up getting characters straight from Deliverance. I mean, literally, if you took the Deliverance movie and popped a really bad latex Winnie the Pooh mask on that looks awful and popped on a Piglet, and that's what this movie is. And I mean, even down to the dressing with the overalls and the way they walk and stuff like that, that's this movie. So it is British, so you have to get past the British accent with all the characters, but it starts off with telling the Christopher Robin story as far as what happened with Christopher Robin. He was a little kid, he had Winnie the Pooh, blah, blah, blah. But then now that he's older, he's going to go off to college. And he ends up abandoning his friends who he would constantly bring food and water and stuff like that. In the act of abandoning them for the past 5 years, they did not know how to survive on their own. So right off the bat, and yes, spoilers, like I said, right off the bat, they end up eating poor Eeyore. And they get so upset and sad that they ended up eating Eeyore that they vowed to return back to their naturalistic, animalistic ways, and they refused to speak anymore because obviously before then they were talking. Now they refuse to speak anymore. They eat their friend Eeyore. Now they have to go search for new food options, and what better way to get food options than to go on a killing spree? Okay, so after the animation, Christopher Robin ends up bringing his wife, I'm sorry, I called her girlfriend at worst, but brings his wife on a expedition into the woods because he's going to show him like Winnie the Pooh and all this other stuff. Right off the bat, things are very, very creepy. He doesn't remember, like when he goes into the lair, it's dark, it's creepy, and he's like, this isn't what I remember at all, sort of thing. And the wife is getting really, really scared. And I think it's such bad acting because what ends up happening is Winnie the Pooh comes and he ends up, and they're like, we gotta hide. So they end up hiding in the bedroom while Winnie the Pooh is sleeping on the, and I'm like, okay, this is your childhood friend. Why didn't you reach out and say, Pooh, I'm here, I miss you? That kind of, no, instead they're hiding from him, which they have very good reason to, because what ends up happening is when Pooh wakes up, he ends up killing the wife instantly. And here's the thing that I didn't get, which is kind of funny. So they kill the wife, and of course, like Christopher Robin's screaming, blah blah blah. They end up knock him out, and they quickly went back to the animation thing where they're eating and serving. So in my mind, I thought they killed the wife and then they killed Christopher Robins and then ate him. It turns out the animation, they were actually killing the wife and eating the wife. All right. So Piglet is not cute at all. Piglet looks like a boar with the tusk and stuff like that. But we go into that whole thing, and then immediately after the killing of the wife and the eating of the wife and stuff like that, it switches to like another story. It's like Christopher Robin doesn't exist now. So now you're in the story with friends. They're going to a house, and this is where it gets really weird and stupid. They're going to a house to visit their friend, old girlfriends, because the girlfriend has been a victim of some sort of crazy ass stalker that keeps coming to her house, and it turns out the stalker does some really creepy things. He at one point she woke up in the middle of the night and he was trying to undress her. They didn't show anything on that, but it was kind of creepy and stuff like that. So the friends are coming over to make her feel better and that sort of thing. So they're in the house, and like in between while they're in this house, there's like this lesbian couple story where the two girls are trying to rekindle their love affair. You've got the crazy girl that has these triggering anxiety panic attacks because of the stalker who's coming, and then of course you've got now Piglet and and Winnie the Pooh, who are now after them, that are going to try to kill the girls so that they can eat them. Okay. Very first thing right off the bat, you have, I mean, I'm skipping around, but I'm just trying to make this. So you get this girl, she's all tattooed, and she's like dancing around, putting makeup on, and I'm like, this is such a weird scene. Like, why are they focusing on this girl? And I almost want to say it's a missed opportunity, because prior to this scene, they did have a scene where there is a girl that Winnie the Pooh goes after, basically takes her, smashes her head into a tree grinder. But before he does that, he did something that was so fast that I had to rewind, because I'm like, what the hell just happened? He grabs the girl, and it's like, it was almost as if CGI or it was just like fake, but he ripped her clothes off instantly. So it's like, how the hell do her clothes easily just fly off with like no effort? I totally missed it because I blinked, because it's like he grabbed her and then all of a sudden she's naked. I'm like, wait a minute. Go back for a second. He rips off her clothes, but it was just like a fake ripping off the clothes. So now, of course, you get the famous titty shots. You have to have a titty shot in somewhere. So you got the titty shot, and what does he do? He takes the girl and bang, 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 smashing her against the tree grinder, which he then puts her in the tree grinder, and now blood is splattering with all her guts and body pieces and stuff like that, and he's like all laughing with blood and whatever. So that's like the first kill. Then you've got the girl who's dancing around putting makeup on. She doesn't die then. She actually later on dies, because now she's in a hot tub with a bikini on. And I'm thinking to myself, well, you already had your mandatory titty scene. She's in a hot tub alone by herself. Why didn't you just have another hot tub scene? But anyway, she's in the hot tub taking selfies of herself like, hey, hi, hi. And as she's taking a selfie, in the back, they're coming, which is kind of creepy. And she's like, what the hell is that? So what do they do with her? Instead of like killing her right away, no, they take her, put her on the ground, like they knock her out, put her on the ground, and she now awakens in a complete hogtie. So I'm thinking to myself, why are they wasting their time hogtying her? It doesn't make sense. So she's on the ground, hogtied, screaming. Piglet comes along with his sledgehammer and then just steps on his back. Now, you're so expecting him to take the sledgehammer and just completely bash her brains in or something like that. No. Instead, he just holds her down with the foot, and here comes Winnie the Pooh driving the car. And he just drives slowly and just decides to drive right over her head. And because she's like laying down in the hog tie, her eyeballs start popping out her brain. And I'm like cracking up loud. I'm like, what the hell? I mean, okay, another missed opportunity. You have a sledgehammer in hand. You've got the girl tied up on the ground. Why didn't you just take the sledgehammer and just wah, wah, wah? No, he didn't do that. No, instead, Winnie the Pooh just slowly drove over her head. So, yeah, that was another missed opportunity. Kind of funny, though. So, but nice eyeball popping out. I thought that was kind of funny. So then, now, the four friends find the girl outside dead, and for whatever reason, I don't know why, Winnie the Pooh and Piglet wrote in the blood, "Get out" across the window on the outside. So it's like, why are they telling them to get out? I mean, it's like, it doesn't make sense. So all the girls are like screaming and they're huddled together and they're like, we gotta find a weapon. So what do they find? One finds a little tiny hammer and the other one finds a little tiny knife. So you mean to tell me in an entire house, you're looking for a weapon and you're going to find a little tiny hammer and you're going to find a little tiny knife to battle these guys that are like killers. Yeah. So then the other girl is all panicky and having a panic attack and stuff like that. Finally, it dawns on her, oh, guess what? I have a loaded gun upstairs. Let's go get the loaded gun. It's like, what the hell? Why didn't you bring the loaded gun out to begin with instead of a little tiny hammer? So, of course, now the girls separate and they're going in different directions, which made no sense whatsoever as to why they're going in different directions. Just stay together. But, like I said, this stupid movie. So then she gets the gun, and because they separated, of course, this gives perfect opportunity for Winnie the Pooh and Piglet to start their murder match. So the first girl, they knock her out with the sledgehammer. And this is where it gets weird because it's like a whole pool scene. So the girl is knocked out. The girlfriend gets pushed into the pool. And now comes along Piglet. You got the girl in the pool. So now what she can do, he's walking around the pool. What does he do? He had his sledgehammer in hand. He puts the sledgehammer down. He grabs a length of chain. And in a really pathetic, weird way, he's taking the chain and he's like trying to whip her in the chain. So it's like whack, whack, and it's like the chain is just like plopping in the water, and she's like, ah. I'm like, girl, get out of the water, run away, don't just stay there. So finally he realizes the chain is not working, so he turns around, he now grabs the sledgehammer. But instead of grabbing the sledgehammer, what does he do? He like walks in the water very slowly, but because the water is like a weird thing, he's now holding the sledgehammer like in a weird way, like, and he's like going after her, but he's going after her as slow as possible, and she's just like, and it's like, girl, swim, get the hell out of there, run out of there. So what does he do? He just goes over to her gently, he's holding the sledgehammer weird, and then whack, and literally just whacks her in the face, blood going everywhere, brains going everywhere, and she dies instantly. And the girlfriend, who was knocked out, wakes up and starts screaming, ah, that sort of thing, and she runs away. So now, what else? So then we skip over to now Winnie the Pooh, and this gets really weird. He's indulging in honey. And he's having this like disgusting honey thing. He's just like grabbing the honey and just like licking the honey, and I'm like, what's the point of this? Meantime, the one girl is tied up and he's just like licking the honey, and it's just like too long of a scene focusing on the honey. Now, here's where the funny thing that I'm laughing my ass off on this, and I know people won't realize it because sometimes you don't realize background music. So now I always watch subtitles. I do that for a couple of reasons, because a lot of times I can't hear what the characters are saying. Plus, with the subtitles, you get to hear a deeper depth of what is going on, because subtitles will also put the lyrics to any music in the background. Here is where the funny thing is. So the background music throughout the entire movie is similar to the Gregorian chants of Omen. So if you know that Latin type Gregorian chanting, the problem is they're not chanting Latin. They're actually chanting two things. they're saying something. So they keep repeating like something, 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 but they're doing it in Gregorian chant style. And then they keep saying that smell. So it's like that smell, that smell. So I'm laughing my ass off because you've got Winnie the Pooh with this honey thing, and then you got the girl tied up on the ground, and you hear the Gregorian chantings talking about that smell. So it's like, what? So now, at this point, which I didn't realize, Christopher Robin is still alive. I didn't know that. I got confused. In fact, I knew he was alive because he made a appearance earlier where basically Winnie the Pooh was beating the shit out of him. But Christopher Robin is still alive. All the girls end up finding him because he's tied up, he's all bloody and stuff like that. So the one girl goes over and tries to untie them. The other girls are just staring at him like, it's like, you've got killers out there. Get this guy out and help him. Don't just stare at him like nothing. So finally all three of them get them out, and he's like, there's another victim, go get her. So they go outside, and there's like another victim tied up as well, and she's screaming and she's all bloody and stuff like that. She starts going crazy and whips out the gun that the woman had to go after Piglet. She's like, I'm gonna kill Piglet. She's like, Piglet, 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 and she's going around with this gun. And Piglet is now on the other side of the fire pit, so they're doing this weird walk around with the fire pit, and she's got the gun in hand, and it's like, girl, you got the gun, shoot him. Well, she ended up shooting the gun out of nowhere just to try to get his attention. Bad mistake, because apparently there was only one bullet in the gun. So now she has a gun with no bullet, and she tries to, but ends up backing up into Winnie the Pooh, and of course she ends up getting killed, obviously. And Winnie the Pooh then decides to take the honey and pour it on her face, and then Piglet decides to go to town and starts eating her face. So now the girl is on the ground and Piglet's just like eating her face, like crunch, crunch, crunch. I'm like, what the hell? I think of that story. I shouldn't make light of the story, but it's a true story. The guy who ended up getting the flocka and then went nuts and became like a werewolf and started eating faces of people. True story. It's down in Florida. But that's what I thought instantly when I saw him eating her face. Is like, okay, that's a knockoff of the Flocka guy. Anyway, so they sledgehammer Pooh. They start running away. Blah 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 blah. So now Pooh goes around. He kills another girl. He gets this big long knife and just shoves it. Very cool scene. Right through her open mouth into the back of the pole. So it's like she's just there stuck with the knife, so she gets killed as well. Then I don't know how I missed this, because like I said, this is the type of movie that bounces around, and they're running, so they end up finding this car full of like hillbilly. It's a mixture of hillbilly gangster and a gang of LA gang affiliate. It's like if you take a group of gang members that don't belong together. Like you have the Latin guy, you have the hillbilly guy, you've got the cowboy guy. It's like, it's a gang that just, they don't mesh. Put them all together, and now they all have weapons. One has a crowbar, another one has like a tire iron, the other one has a baseball bat, another one had like a knife. So you're going to get them to go after Winnie the Pooh and beat the shit out of him. Well, they take the tire iron, whack, right against Winnie the Pooh. It's like Winnie the Pooh doesn't even move. Like, nothing. So Winnie the Pooh ends up killing like all of them. Although one of them, and this is where it was really weird, out of nowhere, the guy starts running away when he realizes his friends are all dead. So what does Winnie the Pooh? He does this like magical thing, and all of a sudden a swarm of bees comes after him and kills the guy through a bee sting attack. And once again, I'm like, what the hell? It's like, wow, just swarm of bees. All right, what else? So now the girls are driving away in the car of the guys, because the truck from the guys. And of course, amazingly, even though they're driving away, Pooh climbs into the back as if he has this amazing ability that he could keep up with the truck. And he's in the back and he's like reaching over to grab him. He instantly kills the one girl. He does the other one. But what makes it funny is, while the other girl is in the car, he rips off the head of the friend and just like tosses it at the windshield of the car. So now the friend is headless. And what does she do? She turns on the windshield wipers. It's like wah, 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 which is spreading all the blood and the brains and everything across the windshield, which totally makes it that you can't even see. And then he's about to kill her, Christopher Robin comes to try to save the day. So he like smashes into Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh lets the girl go, but you know something? Winnie the Pooh does not die. He can't die. So what ends up happening is he now has the girl. He has the knife. Christopher Robin is like pleading with Winnie the Pooh. Winnie, he's like, don't do it. Don't do it. Take me instead. Save her. I'm the one you want. That sort of thing. And what does Winnie the Pooh go? He looks at him and is like, you left. Boom. And he just slashes her throat. Completely slashes her throat. And then, guess what? Christopher Robin runs away. And that's the end of the movie. I'm like, what the fuck? That's it. I was waiting for either Christopher Robin to die. Excuse me. I was waiting for Christopher Robin to die. I was waiting for Winnie the Pooh to die. No, Christopher Robin survives. Winnie survives. Everybody else is dead. And the whole movie, when it was over and it finally ended, I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? So, like I said, for a horror film, 1 out of 10. For a Winnie the Pooh story and comedy, 3 out of 10. I would say this is a movie to watch with a whole bunch of friends and literally destroy the movie. That's what you need to do. You need to sit down as a group and just laugh your ass off at this movie, because that's exactly what I did. It was not scary at all. Yes, it was violent. It was bloody. And there's no sex in it at all. The only nudity scene is that one scene where he rips off, and I mean no effort whatsoever. The clothes just came right off. They probably did missed opportunities because they probably could have added more in with either the hot tub scene or with the creepy scene where the guy comes in and just tries to take off her clothes. He didn't even take off her clothes. He got up to the point where he took the spaghetti strap like this. She wakes up and screams and that sort of thing. So if you like these types of movies, do not forget to subscribe. Like and subscribe. I am going to be doing more movie reviews. I like to do obscure movies that people may not have heard of, or just movies that are like independent or anything like that. Like and subscribe. Love to hear your comments down below. And stay tuned for the next adventures of Mel Mel as we look into different movies in different genres. And I would love to hear your opinions, so be sure to comment below. Take care, everyone.